This is Peter Baltes from Accept, and you're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everybody, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. And we are here in Nashville, Tennessee, Summer NAMM 2015, and I am here with our special guest today, Accept bass player Peter Baltes. How you doing, Peter?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much. You know, this beautiful town, and the sun is shining, a million people walking around, and in the middle of all this, it's you and me sitting here.
And you live here now. You're a long way from home, aren't you?
A long way from home. Yeah, I lived in Philadelphia area for about 25 years. And the last 2 years I moved down here. My son went to college here. Wolf lives here for 20 years. So now I had to come down to write out the albums, you know, since it started up again. And I spent so much time here. My wife suggested, why don't we just move there? So we have a little more time together, and we love it, absolutely love it.
Well, that's great. Well, let's go back to those early days.
Sure.
You are from Germany.
Yeah, schooling in Germany.
Okay. Tell me about your musical upbringing.
It was really strange. Because I was totally not metal. I was a progressive bass player. The first band I was in, it was my best friend. His brother had a guitar. It was broke, so we fixed it, and we had that guitar, and we got another acoustic. And so I took one guitar lesson. I had to play House of the Rising Sun. There's an F chord in there, which I couldn't get. I was so frustrated, I gave it up. So I started learning myself. And then we ended up having 3 guitar players in the band. And one day we just, you know, we had little sticks, and whoever picks the smallest has to be the bass player. And that was me. That's really my story.
Well, who were your bass influences once you discovered?
It started then. I started listening to Yes. So I learned everything. I was sitting in my parents' bedroom playing drums on pillows with the cooking spoons and all the Yes albums, Zappa, you know, all the progressive sounds. So when I started playing bass, that's what I played.
Tell me about your technique.
I don't know what I have. I have an extended arm, you know. I play as hard as I can with a pick, as hard as I can, and I mute in between. I mute a lot, so I get a very percussive and accurate maybe account of what I play. But that's about it. You know, I totally submerge myself into the beat and the groove and the timing, and basically just enjoy. I learned how to enjoy and listen to the guitars, what they're doing, and find my way. Over the years, I've found my spots that are good. And then, you know, I'm a guitar player too, so I write all my stuff on the guitar. But now I'm actually start writing stuff on the bass. That's a cool bass line, and then built a song around that. It was never the case. That was never in my mind, you know. But my basic thing is just. And when we play live, for instance, I'm one of the only bass players where you actually hear the bass. You hear every note. In a metal band, that's hard, you know. But we have two great guitar players. They have a great tune. I sit right there in that mix, and it just always cuts through.
Well, for a band like Accept, any band to survive for as many years, well, you've done more than survive, but I mean to still be together after so many years is quite an accomplishment and quite a feat. Well, how do you account for that level of success with that band?
Well, I think very early we nudged out our own little style a little bit. You know, we were called a hard rock band, and then in the 80s it started all of a sudden Judas Priest, and then the term heavy metal was born, kind of. And we were the German version of it. There were 2 German bands. It was the Scorpions, they were the rock band, and we were the metal band, the first metal band. And because we had a unique singer back then, that voice, you know, not everybody loved it, but in the metal world, it was the ultimate. And then we're lucky. We were, you know, we would rehearse 5-6 days a week. That's all we did. We would have a job. We rehearsed at night. We played gigs. We did it all ourselves. We built the cases ourselves. We did everything ourselves and rehearsed and never really played any covers. None of us knows any other songs. You know, when you go somewhere, hey, you guys want to jam on this? We can't. We don't know anything.
Did you get tired of playing balls to the wall?
You never. You can't, no. Okay. I think to me, the ultimate success is to survive and to be around for a long time and create stuff that my kids love and their kids will love. You know, not just a one-hit wonder. So that's what we worked on all our life, to be relevant in what we do.
You are indeed very relevant. Let's talk about your equipment. You play a Warwick bass now.
I play Warwick bass. I played Fender. I have a 59. I played all my life, pretty much. And lately we fly so much. When we performed in 2009, we started touring very heavily. We flew so much, and it was scary for me to always have my 59 with me on the airplanes. We never put it under, but at festivals, things can get knocked over. And after a while, I was like, I don't know. And then Wolf hooked up with Framus, Warwick Framus, and they built him a killer Flying V. And I know, Peter and I go back forever, So I played Warwick 25 years ago, 30 years.
Hans Peter Wilf?
Yeah, Hans Peter. So, he approached me and said, "You want to try something? You want me to do it?" And I said, "You know what? The time is right, because I want to retire the P bass, and I'm so iffy with it. I'm afraid. I tried everything else. I don't like anything. People gave me basses and instruments. I didn't want to take them because just to have them. I want to play something I like."
Well, tell me what's special about the Warwick, because you seemed very excited about it when we were talking earlier. It's the streamer bass, right?
It's a streamer bass, but they were so nice enough to really go into the detail and make the replica of my neck, which is so old, that the first 5 or 6 frets are really thinned down, because that's where you work most. You go up there, but down there, so it's different. I want that feel, and every neck I tried, it's a stock neck. They're thicker, they're made the way they are. And I said, is there a way to do this? And I said, well, we make it, it's Warwick, so here we go. And it was hand done, and I was there, and I was like amazed, and I said, still not right, I'm back. So it was truly custom made to my liking, the neck and the body. And I said, I really put the EMGs in, because that's what I had all my life, the sound, and they worked very hard on it, and made them look, make it look like different, like metal, and they went in there, and the designers loved it, said, let's do something like this, and turned out they were absolutely awesome. So I got used to them. Now I love them. They're actually in a way they're better than my P bass, because the P bass, because it's so old, the intonation is really tough. In the studio when I played with it, I always had to work on it and stuff. So all of a sudden I have an instrument and intonation is perfect. I'm like, that's not bad to have. So all the strings have the same volume. With P bass you get used to stuff. It's like an old car. It doesn't, you shift. You have to do this. You have to give. That's what the P bass was. Now I have like a brand new, something I really got into. So they built me another one. I have 2 on the road, and we're in the process of building another one. I have no knobs. I just have an on and off switch, because all the knobs are on anyway. So out of the way, it looks really cool. I can adjust if I want in the back, if I want to adjust, which I did. I readjusted after a while, because the live setting on stage is so different than in the showroom or in Mark Neukirchen at the factory or in your basement.
You say that, it just flows. It takes me so much effort to say Mark Neukirchen. Mark Neukirchen.
I am German.
Last question, Peter. What would you be if you were not a bass player? Something outside of music.
Probably a guitar player, but...
No, outside of music. You could say drummer, but oh no.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe... I never thought about that, honestly. That's like... I don't know, outside of music. I really do like to travel and like to take risks. So I'm probably one of these idiots that climb mountains or do something weird. I would live on the edge a little, because that's what the music does. It's a little edgy, because you take risks all the time by creating something that people could not like it, and then what? So, probably an outdoors guy in some form or another.
Okay, well, Peter Baltes from Accept, great getting to know you.
And I see you in Mark Neukirchen in September.
I taught him well, didn't
I?
And
we talk again.
That's right. I look forward to it, yes, at the Warwick Bass Camp you're talking about. We are in Nashville on location at the 2015 Summer NAMM show with Peter Baltes. I am John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.